the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, well, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome to it. Good morning, you beautiful souls. Do one thing for me first. Take that breath of life in, feel it. Let it swirl around you and enjoy all the potential that it's given you this morning. Welcome to another beautiful day. And of course, it's midweek on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's not Tuesday for some of you that had that public holiday. I know the disjointed weeks are getting crazy, but don't worry, we are here. It's Wednesday and we're here to inform you and keep you up to date on all things news that's making the headlines. Our news editor, Roy Simpson, of course, is here, as well as pop, culture, and entertainment content creator. We're talking about Zethu Ngola, and she's here to share the opinion, well, both of the opinions on the president of the UAE's runway saga in the Eastern Cape. Crazy stuff happening, as well as Alan Windy's plans to arrest Putin should he step foot on the Western Cape. Whoa, the news is taking over this morning, but don't worry, Mzansi, it's not all doom and gloom, because we're also going to turn things up a bit. We're making authentic pizzas from scratch, and of course, the culinary hotline, bling! Ting, 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 is here for you this morning. Now, it doesn't stop there, because finally entertaining us this morning, we've also got the musical band Indie Dog in the building. Oh yes, it's a jam-packed morning. It's going to be full of surprises. And hey, here's your first surprise. Say good morning to Good Looking over here.
Good morning, South Africa. My name's Clem Pedro. I'm not in the kitchen this morning because they've asked me to read the news, but I promised them I'd lie about everything. I'd make up the weather, I'd make up the traffic. So they were like, you know what, you can just say good morning to the people. I hope you had an amazing morning start so far. We've got a social media question. I'm really interested to hear what you think about today's topic. Last week, the president of the UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and his family landed in the Eastern Cape on a 20 million rand runway he built himself with his own money. What do you think about this lavish display of wealth? I think it's cool. I think if you want to build your own runways in life, do it. But I really want to know what you think about it. So let us know on our social pages. But first, here's Raul with the real news.
Nicely done, brother. Fantastic stuff indeed. Of course, it's time to kick off with official duties once again, and starting on national news headlines. Now, the city of Johannesburg will not have a mayor at least until Friday. Now, this after the Speaker of Council, Colleen Makubele, postponed the voting for a new mayor until Friday. Now, councillors of different political parties requested endless caucus breaks that lasted the entire day. Now, last month, Al-Jama as Tapelo Ahmad resigned from the position, leaving the mayoral chair empty. Now, like other metros in Gauteng, such as Ekurhuleni and Tshwane, Johannesburg has been marred with instabilities in leadership, and coalition parties continue to struggle to reach an agreement. Sticking to national news headlines, and something that might welcome some drivers, but not all. The price of 93 and 95 unleaded petrol increased by 37 cents per litre at midnight last night, and diesel has decreased by 74 cents per litre, and illuminating paraffin by 33 cents per litre. Now, the main reasons for the fuel price adjustments are the cost of crude oil, international petroleum product prices, and the rand-dollar exchange rate. Now, in his recent budget speech, the Minister of Finance announced an increase of 1 cent per litre to the general fuel levy in the price structures of both petrol and diesel. Well, from national news headlines, let's head over to international news. Now, an emergency radio service for Sudan was launched on BBC News Arabic yesterday. Now, the pop-up radio service will be broadcast twice daily for 3 months, providing news and information for people in the war-torn African nation. Now, it will include eyewitness accounts and news on diplomatic efforts and help counter disinformation. Now, programs will be broadcast live from London with input from teams in Amman, Jordan, and Egypt's capital, Cairo. Now, it will also be available online, where listeners will hear information on how to access essential supplies and services. Sticking to international headlines, international air travelers will soon no longer have to show proof of COVID vaccination when arriving in the US. Now, the US will lift the requirement tomorrow, coinciding with the end of the coronavirus public health emergency in the country. Now, vaccine rules will also be lifted for federal employees and contractors, and the lifted restriction will also apply to non-US travelers entering via land ports of entry. Now, this change will allow Serbian tennis star 35-year-old Novak Djokovic to play in the US Open this year. Now, news of a very inspiring note, I believe. The Tygerberg Children's Choir has been named the best children's choir at the 2023 Hull International Choir Competition in Britain. Now, they also bagged second place in the category for sacred choral music performed by a cappella. Now, this latest achievement of the choir means they can participate in the World Choir Games in New Zealand next year. Now, 27 choirs from 10 countries participated in the Hull Choir Competition this year, and having won countless international choral competitions since its inception in 1972, the Tygerberg Children's Choir, one of SA's proudest musical export products, is today widely regarded as one of the best even-voiced children's choirs in the world. Now, the choir celebrates a monumental 50 years on 23 July this year in the Cape Town City Hall. Truly a remarkable milestone. Now, these highly talented children have, among many others, performed for ex-President Bill Clinton, also at the inauguration of President Nelson Mandela in 1994, and for the late Queen Elizabeth. On that inspiring note, I leave you with the rest of the headlines. Next up, we dive into the latest when it comes to all the sporting action. Reporting on all things sporting action and starting off with soccer news first. Now, Arsenal delivered an emphatic warning that they remain serious title contenders as they outclassed abysmal Chelsea 3-1 to return to the top of the Premier League. Now, the Gunners had gone 4 league games without a win and were heavily beaten last time. And that was out at reigning champions Manchester City, who replaced them at the Summit with victory at Fulham on Sunday. Now, Mikel Arteta's side, though, are back at the Summit, although City do have 2 games in hand. Now, Martin Odegaard scored twice, while Gabriel Jesus added a third before Nondi Madueke got a consolation for the visitors. Well, sticking to soccer action right now, international Argentine captain Lionel Messi has been suspended by PSG Paris Saint-Germain for 2 weeks after traveling to Saudi Arabia without the club's permission this week, and will not train or play for PSG during the period of his suspension. Now, the trip followed the French club's home defeat by Lorient on Sunday, in which Messi played the full 90 minutes. Now, it is understood the 35-year-old has a role as a tourism ambassador for Saudi Arabia and asked permission to make the journey to carry out commercial work, but was refused. Now, next up in our latest sporting action, we head over to the cricket pitch. Now, India overtook Australia to go #1 in the new test rankings issued by the ICC, while also retaining the top position in T20s. Now, India last topped the test rankings for a month in December 2021, while Australia has been #1 since January 2022 after hammering England 4-0 in the Ashes. Now, England are third, with the rest of the table remaining unchanged. Now, that's with South Africa 4th and New Zealand 5th, ahead of Pakistan, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh, as well as Zimbabwe. Carrying on with sporting action, heading to the tennis courts now, and you might have heard this in the news earlier this morning. World #1 Novak Djokovic will be able to play at this year's US Open after the United States confirmed international travelers will no longer need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, US policy will change on the 12th of May, allowing Serb Djokovic to return to Flushing Meadows in August. Now, the 22-time Grand Slam winner was forced to miss last year's tournament because of his vaccination status. Now, he also missed the past 2 Masters events in Indian Wells and Miami. Well, that's all the latest when it comes to sporting action. For now, though, it's time to head to the skies and see what's happening the latest when it comes to weather. Finally, in our latest update, we're bringing you weather news. Now, a recent rapid heating of the world's oceans has alarmed scientists who are concerned it will add to global warming. Now, last month, the Global Sea Service hit a new record high temperature. Now, it has never warmed this much this quickly. Now, scientists don't fully understand why this has happened, but they worry that combined with other weather events, the world's temperature could reach a concerning new level by the end of next year. Now, experts believe that a strong El Nino weather event, a weather system that heats the ocean, will also set in over the next months. Now, warmer oceans can kill off marine life, lead to more extreme weather, and raise sea levels. Now, they are also less efficient at absorbing planet-warming greenhouse gases, and we have previously reported that should El Nino return, it could mean that this winter in SA may be unseasonably dry in the southwest and unseasonably wet in the northeast. Interesting stuff indeed. Well, from our weather news, we head over to those sunrise views, the best part of the morning where you, Mzansi, send those incredible pictures in. And starting us off this morning, we've got Tasneem Pandi from GQ Tropica and her amazing morning view. What a beautiful image. Thank you so much. The silhouette itself is powerful on another level. Next up, we've got Rufus Slabbert all the way from Baviaanskloof and his incredible sunrise views. I mean, look at this. It's just absolutely breathtaking. It's those fiery views for me that really, truly just stand out for this one. Next up, we've got Martin from Beaconsfield, Kimberley, and his view of the sun on the rise. Now, this one is in the far distance. Of course, you can see it out there, and it is a beautiful one. The glow is just serene. It's something that we all would need to start our day. I love it. Next up, Ivana Barons from Karika, and her great image is this one of the morning skies. I mean, look at that. Those colors, one word, majestic. And Mzansi, again, thank you so much for sharing those morning views with us. Keep using the number 063-408-8860. We'd love to see how you start your day, because clearly it puts a massive smile on our faces. For now, though, let's take our first look at the temperatures across the country. And starting off in Polokwane, the day starts at a low of 12 up to 28 with rain expected. Umbabela, same wet conditions, 16 up to 28. Pretoria, similar conditions from 13 up to 28. Johannesburg, 11 is your low up to a high of 25 degrees. Moving over to Mahikeng now, the day starting at a low of 13 up to a high of 30 with wet conditions expected. Klerksdorp, a little bit drier. You start your day on 13 up to 29. Kimberley, 7 is your low up to a high of 27 degrees. And Bloemfontein, a chilly start of 3 degrees, but you move up to a moderate 25 with sunny skies expected. Around the coast now and over to Richards Bay, thunder is expected from 19 up to a high of 24 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, much the same, wet conditions and thunder, 14 up to 21. Durban carries on with the rain from 18 up to 24 degrees. And Mthatha, the rain continues from 10 being your low up to a high of 23 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now, over to East London, where the day starts at a low of 14 up to 23 degrees. Cradock sees the day starting at a chilly 6 up to 24. GQ Berga sees the day starting at 13 up to a high of 22 degrees. And George, 12 is your low up to a moderate 20 degrees Celsius. Around the coast now and over to the mother city, Cape Town, dry conditions from 12 all the way up to a high of 20 degrees. Worcester, much the same, from 8 up to 27. Sutherland sees a chillier start of 6 degrees up to a moderate 22. And Uppington, from a chilly 7, you move up to a nice warm 30 degrees Celsius. Again, Mzansi, thank you for sending those incredible pictures in. We absolutely loved seeing how you start your day. And hey, let's keep those surprises going, because Clementine's in the building. What's happening, brother?
Thank you so much, Rao. You've done a lot of talking this morning, and I'm going to take over now. You can take a little chill, Paul, because when we come back, it's officially the Culinary Hotline bling! Ting, ting, ting! And we're getting a masterclass on everything pizza, so if you have any voice notes for us on anything pizza related, send those voice notes to 063-408-8863. Don't go anywhere.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, South Africa. Yes, it's Wednesday, and it's the culinary hotline bling. Ding, ding, ding. This morning, we have a very special guest in the kitchen who's going to teach us everything we need to know about making the most delicious pizza at home. And if I'm going to ask someone to teach you how to make a pizza, it's you, Enrico.
Thank you so much, Glenn.
Enrico from Pizza Connection. They are absolutely brilliant at making a pizza that I love the most. What I love most about the pizzas is the base is as delicious and flavorsome and as much an experience as the toppings. So when we came through this morning and said, okay, we need to know how to make a good pizza base, it's this man. He's all about the base. He's all about the base. Enrico, welcome to the kitchen.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us. Are you sleeping this time?
Generally, yes. We close the restaurant quite late, so I'm a little bit sleepy still.
Okay, it's fine.
But
We got you. So South Africa, if you want to get involved, please send us your voice notes to 063-408-8863. Ask us anything about pizzas, but also, I want to know from you, what makes the ultimate pizza for you? What goes on top of that pizza? And does banana belong there? Banana, pineapple, do they belong on a pizza? Oh, let's start it off with we've actually got a voice note because Enrico needs to calm down because he just heard something that shocked him. Enrico, we've got a voice.
That's the stuff for the morning.
It's too early for him in the morning to hear such crazy things. No. We've got Josephine Pixel. We've got a voice note from her. Let's hear what she loves on a pizza.
Absolutely.
Hi, good day, Expresso team. This is Josephine Pixstone speaking. I like to eat my pizza with my hands. Reason why, a pizza, you don't have to use knife and forks. You feel what you eat, and it tastes so good what you eat. If you eat your pizza with your hands. Absolutely delicious. Thank you, bye.
Thank you, Josephine.
Thank you.
How do you feel about eating pizza with a knife and fork?
Well, you can, absolutely. But the most enjoyable way, I believe, is with your hand.
With your hands.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Let's talk
and
about...
you need to get a little bit messy.
Because it's emotional. It's emotional. You got to get involved with it. So I'm seeing this very beautiful dough, and it's got a beautiful, beautiful wobble. Anytime I see a dough that's got such a beautiful wobble and it still holds its shape, I know it's about to be delicious. Can we talk about how we got this? I'm guessing we're going to start off with...
We're starting with flour. The most important thing, guys, is actually trying to know which kind of flour we use. Each flour is very different. For a home pizza, as it's very complicated to reach in South Africa, technical flours that comes generally from overseas, we're going to use bread flour.
Bread flour.
It's more than enough and is the perfect flour to make a pizza at home.
So are we going for bread flour because it has more gluten, or you get more gluten out of it?
Yeah, we actually can get more gluten out of it, and the W is generally around 250, something like that. Right. So it's the strength of the flour and the protein that are inside it. We need to remember that this guy, the yeast, eats protein, gluten, and sugars. But sugars, we're not going to use, for instance, normal sugar inside it because flour is already got sugar.
Right.
So we're gonna...
Flour's got sugar. Okay, let's get started. Absolutely. So what do we add to our flour first?
We actually add our 9 grams of yeast for 1 kilo of flour directly.
That's perfect because the sachet is about 10 grams.
It's about 10 grams. You got the 6 and the 10 grams, if I remember well. It's dry yeast. If you got it, you can actually use also the fresh one. It's even better. Then we start with water. We got 800 grams of water here.
Is this, and you're going for room temperature, nothing fancy, not warm, not...
Absolutely not. We're going for cold water.
Okay, quite different for what we were taught in school.
Absolutely.
What school did you go to? But yes...
Well, we need to consider that yeast dies at 60 degrees. So we can accelerate the fermentation. Yeast produce a fermentation. So with cold water, we're actually slowing down the fermentation. We want a dough that is actually very light and super easy to digest. To have that one, we need to make it rest and make it ferment slowly.
So okay, once we get everything all together, the salt, the olive oil, the water, we can put that into the bowl.
Absolutely.
And we get that beautiful dough. You said rest, especially we're starting off with cold water. How long have you rested this dough before it actually reached us this morning?
It's 24 hours.
24 hours?
We need 24 hours.
Okay.
It needs to pass the night, let's say.
Okay.
Minimum 15, 18 hours. That's the minimum.
In the fridge?
In the fridge.
In the
4
fridge.
degrees.
And so we'll take this out like half an hour before we actually serve it to kind of like just cut
This
the
one,
temperature?
a little bit more, actually, because
Okay.
we need to make it grow a little bit. Consider what slows down the fermentation on a pizza is actually temperature, amount of yeast, salt, and amount of water.
Okay, perfect.
So we're slowing it down. As more water we put, faster is the fermentation. And we want, as we don't have a big temperature, we don't have high temperature in our oven, home oven, apologize. So we want a very hydrated dough.
Okay, and that's
We
what
use-
happens when you let it rest for 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna swap. Can I go into this? Can I ask you to start
Absolutely.
working with this, though, just so we can see what it's actually like? I just felt that now it's absolutely, you can, in a sense where you can cut, it's cold, but you
Yeah.
can smell there's like a yeasty flavor coming off of that already.
Absolutely.
And the bubbles, you can see the little bubbles appearing on the surface.
Yeah.
And that's during the fermentation. Okay, so we get to this point, and I
We
notice you
get
got...
to this point, we finish putting it water inside it. We can start putting our, oops,
Oh, no, good.
apologize.
And this is olive oil.
We finish up with water. This is a no-need experience, so
Okay.
we don't have to mix it too much.
Nice, yes. Olive oil goes in. When we
Olive oil
end up
goes in.
with this dough that's now rested for 24 hours,
Yes.
we've taken it out the fridge to bring it up to temperature.
And then we wait a little bit, that grows a little bit more, and then we can start dividing it into portions. The most important things when we do it at home, as we cook it inside a tray, we need to measure the tray
Okay, because
to understand how much dough we can actually put in one tray. That's a simple mathematical
it's simple
exercise.
maths, basic maths, quick maths.
Basic
But I've got a
maths.
question for you. So it's
Yes,
taken you
sure.
over 24 hours to make this dough, and you can go on handling
Thank
the
you.
dough there. It's taken you over 24 hours to put this dough together. How long are you expected to take in the kitchen when that customer orders that pizza? How long does it happen? Order, out, go.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, 24
Absolutely.
hours, and it all comes down to 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
That's why it's more complicated to make it in the restaurant. You need always to be ready, and you need to manage the temperature, so it's a bit more tricky there.
It is. Okay, we got one more voice up before we head off, and we've got this. Who's this from? Is it from Dylan? Danny. Danny's got a voice note for us. Danny.
Hi everybody, I enjoy eating pizza with my bare hands. I enjoy it really a lot, eating it with my bare hands. Danny Morel in Rustenburg, thanks.
With his bare hands.
Bare hands.
He doesn't
That's the way.
even need to slice the pizza. He just give it to me round. I love that. That's cool. It's again, pizza's emotional food. You can't be sad when you eat pizza.
Absolutely
It just
not.
always puts a smile on your face. South Africa, we're going to keep on working on this dough. We don't want you to go anywhere because now that we've got our dough, the next thing to come is those amazing topics. Enrico, you're not going anywhere. South Africa, keep those voice notes coming through. That number is 063-408-8863. Oh, Enrico. Okay, we're actually going to save you. South Africa, if you could feel this dough right now, it is so incredibly soft. Ah, don't go anywhere.
So,
Oh, I'm here for the dough. It looks absolutely delicious. I can't even speak properly. That's how good that looks. And you, Mzansi, definitely want to get in on that. But we're going to continue with all things culinary. And up next, we take a look at an organization that's paving the way for a more inclusive society through cooking for people on the autism spectrum. Yeah, now Spectrum Chefs Academy is the name. So let's take a look. I love this.
10 years ago, I started the cooking school, but it wasn't Spectrum Chefs Academy. Then in 2021, due to a demand for a formal education for our youngsters, we decided we'd jump in feet first and start Spectrum Chefs Academy, which is an accredited academy for youngsters who are on the autism spectrum, who have any disabilities we specialize in. So that was actually the inspiration behind starting it. We run two sections. It's the Chef's Academy, which is the accredited school, and then we've got Spectrum Cooks, which is my division. My students have more profound physical disabilities, so those with cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, anybody with a physical disability comes to me first. Many of them end up in the accredited classes, but I concentrate on those that struggle.
What I love about Spectrum Chefs Academy is that I learn a lot of different cooking skills, cooking methods, and also the outcome of it is bringing for special needs people like us.
Here at Spectrum Chefs Academy, my role is head chef, lecturer, and part owner. So I cultivate and teach our cooks and chef's course students. So the cooks course more focuses on giving our students a foot in the culinary world through purely the culinary and cooking aspect. And our 3-year chef's course focuses on a more advanced culinary aspect, but also gives our students the ability to run a kitchen and start up a business.
Out of this board here, there are 2 fruits. Do you know what these 2 fruits are? What is the difference between a fruit and a vegetable? Think about that. Kara, can you pick out the 2 fruits?
So today we are learning about vegetables and fruit and what classification they are. My favorite things to cook is any kind of food like bread, lasagna, and any kind of pasta I like to eat also. We all like to eat food, don't we?
Our teaching methods are very much different here at Spectrum Chefs Academy to the other hospitality industries. I like to focus on more bringing out what a student has in them compared to just driving a whole lot of information and knowledge into that person. I like to focus on their talents and what they are good at and let them grow from there. Being on the autistic spectrum myself, I find myself telling my students that if I can do it, so can they. I've been in their shoes, I am in their shoes, and I will be in their shoes. So it allows me to give them the ability and the know-how to improve, because I understand who they are, what's going on in their head, and the problems that they might face. So I give my students the best skills possible to be able to overcome the disability and all the problems that they might face in their future career.
Our vision for Spectrum is we want to grow, but we need to grow. We are only here in this little section of Cape Town, Claremont. We need to take Spectrum further afield the rest of South Africa. We're the only place that does what we do. We are the only place that gets these youngsters ready for employment, but we only touch in a small portion.
I mean, look at the smile on her face. I absolutely love this story. Now, the passion behind Spectrum is to create awareness about the capabilities of those with disabilities. Now, to stop these individuals from being marginalized, to give them confidence and a sense of self-worth. I absolutely love it. And for more information and something if you want to get involved in too, is to visit spectrumcooks.co.za for more.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Dum, 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 dum. Oh, yes, it is time. Zanzi foreigners owning property in South Africa is not an uncommon occurrence, of course. However, what happens when that property happens to be a decommissioned airport that has been renovated by the foreign owner at their own expense? This is what's going on this morning. And what if this airport is now being used to transport people in and out of the country without going through the usual customs checks? Now, these are just a few of the questions that have arisen following the recent visit of the President of the United Arab Emirates. We're talking about Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and his entourage of 500 to the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Clearly, so many questions, we had to bring in the one and only Roy Simpson. Martha, how are you doing?
Lekker, thank you.
Oh man, what's going on here? This is insane. Firstly, what has actually happened here? Has this guy just literally built a runway from scratch so that he can land in South Africa and visit, or what's going on?
No, the runway's been here for quite some time.
Okay.
It's been here since the apartheid era. It was the homeland's runway. You know?
Okay.
But he's thrown 20 million rand at refurbishing this.
Okay.
Now I know there's been a lot of hype about, oh, he built his own runway and this is outrageous. You know, 20 million rand doesn't get you a lot when it comes to sort of tarmac that can deal with heavy planes and things.
Yeah.
And also, you're talking about someone who is enormously wealthy. His dad was the fourth wealthiest royal in the world. He's personally, his net worth is somewhere between 14 and 30 billion US dollars.
Oh, wow.
That's his personal net.
So he might not even feel this at all.
20 million rands, chump change.
Yeah.
It's a complete joke. And also what they really did was they just did things like paint the markings on the tarmac and beef up the sound system, and all the things that are required for safety protocols to meet the international airport standards. So he just spent a little bit of money on being able to land here so that it's convenient for him. So that's what's happened. I mean, obviously there are a lot of implications and things. There are a lot of angles we could take. I mean, maybe just pepper me with questions.
Yeah, I've got so many questions, man. I mean, firstly, like, okay, so I understand the fact that now he's been able to fly into his own designated runway, right?
Yes.
What happens with, like, the customs situation there? I mean, is it the same as in any other airport? Can he just rock up here and bring in whatever he needs? Like, what are the repercussions for this now?
Well, that's been the whole question. Is this another Gupta's? Is this another Waterkloof Air Force Base?
It's smelling a bit like suspicion in the air.
so it's really sensitive to that. You've had Aaron Motsoaledi, who's Minister of Home Affairs, come out and do a lot of press conferencing to try and assure people that that's not the case. So his claim is that this was properly designated by him as the minister as an international port of entry, that all the paperwork that was done that was necessary, and that means by implication that there were Home Affairs officials on the ground, South African Revenue Services,
had to have been met.
the Border Police, all of those things. So that's the claim. We're being told that this was all processed correctly, and that what they did was they just rolled over and played nice for this very rich person and made it convenient for them to land at the airport of their choice. But otherwise, all protocols observed. So we're told.
So my other question is, why land, and why would you choose specifically to want to land at this airport? It doesn't make sense. We have beautiful airports. We have beautiful private airports as well. We've got lots of options, right, as well. What investment does he have in the area, or what is he trying to sort of garner or gain from this? Because clearly this is this just a show of wealth, or is there more to this? Is the investment or relationship being garnered?
Oh, we're on two topics now. The one is he owns a game farm there. You know, quite a large, lavish game farm.
Makes sense.
And they wanted to celebrate Eid, so they wanted to do it on the game farm.
That's a cool idea.
It is. And when you're that wealthy, then you just bring everything with you. You bring the entertainment, you bring the food, you bring your own furniture.
I think the only thing that they would have done, if they could have done it any differently, was bring all the wild animals right up to their garden or something.
They already had them. They bought those.
This is the next best thing, I guess.
So in that then becomes the question of, what's the backhand part of this? What's happening that we don't know about? And that's where the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabayane, comes into it, where he's been to the UAE, he's spent time with the royals. There are pictures of Cyril Ramaphosa schmoozing with Mohammed. So there's all of this stuff in the background around investment, and we've heard a figure of $10 billion being mentioned as an investment figure. That is more than the annual budget for the whole of the Eastern Cape government.
Whoa, okay.
So it's a big, big deal.
Okay.
And this is what it's about. He's already invested in the area, and there's a lot of money of potential future investment lurking around.
Okay, so this is like an interesting way of seeing how the country operates to create these relationships, but at the same time, find investment in a very unique sort of format, I guess, for now. That's what it's starting to appear to look like. I don't know what your perception is on the entire matter.
Well, Arun Motsoaledi is very keen on lecturing the nation on pragmatism. He's saying we are not a highly wealthy nation. This is a highly wealthy nation. We want good relationships with these people. We want them to invest. We want the jobs. So 20 million might not be a lot, but in an area of the Eastern Cape where you've got like 43, 44% unemployment, man, if a couple of people can get jobs maintaining that airport, being baggage handlers, whatever, that's a big deal for that local community. So it's that kind of thinking that Arun Motsoaledi is trying to say is be pragmatic, accept that this money is important and that we need to help these people and make it good and convenient.
Well, Roy, thank you so much for coming through. Of course, you're not going anywhere, Mzansi, so don't worry. Roy's going to be here for a couple of rounds and talking about more of the headlines that are making waves at the moment. But for now, though, let's dive into something even more entertaining, perhaps. Let's find out.
Thank you, Raul, and thank you, Roy. Now, sticking to the theme of current affairs, according to a study of journalism by Reuters Institute in 2022, there was evidence on the growth of social media as a news source for 18 to 24-year-olds. The number of people consuming that news content on TikTok has increased from 800,000 in 2020 to 3.9 million in 2022.
Oh, man, those are huge numbers.
I know,
and look at you, just rolling them out so easy.
It's not just Raul and I talking about this, we also have Zetu Ngola with us.
Yeah,
He's going to be with us the whole day today.
The whole morning.
The whole morning?
The whole morning. Well, listen, let me just finish it up because I have so many questions, right? I mean, there's things that are going through our minds about what does this mean for our youth? Is it a good thing? Is this a bad thing? And part of the growing army of young people creating content on current events is, of course, Zetu right here this morning. So she spreads news, if you don't know, to over 200,000 followers on a TikTok page. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do an official welcome. Officially, let's welcome you to the studio.
200,000 claps. 200,000 claps.
Yes.
You're not done. Just joking.
That's what you deserve.
Thank you.
So again, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I love the look. I love the boots.
Thank
They're looking
you.
good.
Blinding you on live television.
We're here for it. So obviously we're here to talk about so many incredible things, and one thing that's happening with the social media side of things is it's something a little bit more digestible, possibly. It's communicated in a way that is easy to understand. But why do you think it is something that's inspired the platform for this? Why do you think that there's this growing change in this medium and how it's being consumed and by who? I know it's a loaded question, but I know you got the answers.
So I think that a lot of people get, especially young people, get overwhelmed by the news. The news is often extremely negative. I think my platform has succeeded because in a lot of ways, I deliver it in a way a friend would. And if I'm shocked, you're shocked. You know, we're shocked together. And that's created kind of an atmosphere, I think, that's made fake news also very easy to consume. Because now you have people on one side, including older people, who view news as a negative place, but that traditional media might be telling lies. And then you have TikTok, where ordinary citizens are delivering the news, some of which are referencing traditional media sites, some of which are making it up, making it spicy. You know, to go viral is not a bad thing. So it's created really an environment of anything goes, and it's up to the person consuming the news to then go and look up a news source. A lot of my followers comment on my page and they say, you're my only news source, which is cool, it's nice, but I always reply back, but go read the news.
Yes.
Because it's more factual, the picture is always bigger, but it's really opened up to anything becoming believable.
Yeah, that's true. Ken, maybe I can ask you this question. I mean, you're someone that is always aware of things happening in the world, right? How do you consume your media and your news? Is it via social media platforms or is it news, old school channels, just looking at all the headlines? How do you ingest that?
I mean, living in 2022, it's pretty crazy how news just comes at you whether you want it or not. I mean, technology has come so far that you step into your car and it gives you the morning report on everything. But it does become quite a lot. And you have to kind of filter through that to find out, number one, is it true?
Yeah.
Number two, is it for me? But like, is it relevant to what's happening right now? And I think that's where you come in, because you decipher, you work through all the jargon, everything that's happening at the moment, and you actually put it into terms that us as South Africans understand.
Yes.
That's what I love so much about your channel.
But I always make sure I speak about things I'm actually genuinely interested in, and not stories that are just flying by and hot in the moment. Because at the same time, if I have to start battling someone in the comments, I want to be battling with some knowledge. And it's waking up in the morning. Algorithms these days are crazy because you'll see a news article on Instagram. You might click through and read that article via a news site on Google or whatever platform it is. You might go onto TikTok. The app is tracking you. By the time you get onto platforms like TikTok, you're being served every opinion of something you read earlier on in the day. So it's a lot of information overload, yeah.
Oh, definitely. As well, ladies and gentlemen, Zethu Ngola is still here. She's going to be sticking around and inviting a fresh new energy into the studio. And give us a reference when it comes to headlines, news, and obviously everything that she's good at. So we want to know from you, do you still use traditional platforms for your news, or is social media the place to look, to be in the know? Now, of course, you can send us your voice notes on 063-408-8863, and we'll carry on with the rest of this magic in just a bit. Don't go anywhere, Mzansi. The goodness continues.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And of course, we are still considering the implications of the recent visit to the Eastern Cape by royalty from the UAE. Now, especially the controversial use of what's effectively a private airport. Now, you heard the discussion earlier. We were chatting with Roy Simpson, and he's back again to help us unpack it. And of course, alongside the pop culture and entertainment content creator, Zethu Ngola. Zethu, Roy, I want to dive straight into this topic. I know you're both pretty well versed when it comes to this, but what are the implications for something like this with regards to like a country just coming in and doing this without like necessarily the entire South Africa almost giving approval? I don't know. There was approval, right, in a sense.
There was official, there was government approval.
Yeah.
But the question here is, like, are we selling our sovereignty? I think that's the central
That's
question.
the thing. Is that just the option that we're going for in the future, where if anyone's got a high bid and there's something that we can benefit from, cool, we'll make the sale. We need the money. We're not in a position to do anything else.
I think for the youth, myself included within that bracket, you might not understand what the legalities and permissions they were given to do this. You might not fully grasp that that process was followed. But you look at the fact that, yes, it was private-owned land. Yes, you can't do anything on your land. But the implications of what he did were so big that in the mind of someone young like myself, it's like, what else of this magnitude happens that we aren't actually aware of?
Yeah.
Because we weren't aware that there was this president from far away who built himself a runway in the middle of the Eastern Cape, or refurbished it rather, for so much money, until something landed on that runway. So it's like, what else do we not know? So it definitely creates a lot of doubt in our political systems. I mean, we just came from Phahla Phahla Gate. Now we're here. We're here. It's like a little bit, it's hard to trust them now.
And online, is there a sense of resentment? Is there a sense that our sovereignty is being sold, that we're being sold out?
Yes, there are people in my comments on TikTok, because this does not look good. You know, regardless of whether they moved mountains to make sure that the right officials were there, the protocol was there, Home Affairs was there, rolling out the red carpet.
Yeah.
We don't trust, you know, that this is a government that can lead us in a direction that's transparent.
No, because they did roll out the red carpet. They brought down all these officials. There's immense cost. There's immense organizational activity that has to happen around this. And then when Aaron Motsoaledi was explaining to us why this is all kosher and why it's all happened, he mentioned something called the Corporate Accounts Unit of Home Affairs. There's a specialist unit in Home Affairs whose job is to make it easy for big spenders to come into the country.
Oh, okay.
So there's this dedicated unit, and it's with those kind of revelations that just build the distrust, that really create the disconnect between people on the ground and government. Because you just go, but how can you create this unit just to cater to rich people?
Yeah. What would help the situation? Let's say that this is potentially above board. Let's say that this is a great ploy at finding new investment and creating a partnership with another country. How then should we go about doing this? Because Zethu, what you're bringing up is the fact that we only find out about these things when something happens. Why is the public not being informed about these decisions being made? Is it just not necessary for us to be informed? Is the transparency not necessary, or are we not asking the right questions?
I think it's embarrassing, isn't it, for government?
It's really embarrassing. We could be informed. They just choose not to. And it's the lack of transparency. We are dealing with a government that is never transparent. You look at COVID funds, you look at what happened during the July unrest, you look at everything, particularly in the last 12 years. Nothing has ever been transparent. And if this was always above board and there was some kind of union that was going to be formed between our nation and that nation, they could have said that. But because none of that happened, and it was like, this family is coming for Eid, and we're going to make that happen for them. When so many South Africans around the country spend half of their day to their entire day, you have to book leave to get an ID document. I still have my green book, because I'm like, when would I ever get that luxury service from Home Affairs?
Yeah, also
to have
losing
my
money
card?
to stand in the line for days on end.
No
You're 100%
way.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, ideally we'd be choosing our relationships and building our relationships based on mutual values. And instead of, I mean, there's a question around human rights issues with so many of our partners. China, America, those are our big trade partners.
Yeah.
Those are big human rights abusers on a global scale. The UAE.
Also not the brightest of paths as well, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think on the ground, ideally, we'd want to be forming honest partnerships based on the values that we espouse, and we're being told by the Aaron Motsoaledis of the world that no, we need to be pragmatic and we need to roll over for the money, and that's what's uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, because we're going to do that unless we have the buy-in. But of course, this conversation does continue. We're not going anywhere. And on this morning show, we asked you the good morning question, because last week the president of the UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and his family landed in the Eastern Cape on a 20 million rand runway that he built with his own money, or however, possibly just refurbished. Whatever the case is, we want to know what you think of this lavish display of wealth. Now, we were dying and requesting transparency in our country, especially when it comes to decisions government makes. But let's hear what Mzansi has to say. We've got Irma Marcus comes through, says, Irma Marcus says, I wish they could fix our load shedding problems, not hand the money over, actually bringing their technicians, engineers over to our country and help sort us out. Enough is enough now. Okay, so Irma's taking the approach of, okay, she'll invite this if it can help the people. So I think she's seeing this as a potential good partnership, seeing the silver lining, I guess, in this. I don't know what you guys might make of that.
I mean, my assumption reading that tweet is that that's what they should have done. You know,
Yes.
instead of allowing people to do whatever for vibes, they could actually fix real problems going on. And if that's really what's going on behind closed doors and he's here to secretly solve the energy crisis around...
Yo, why is it a secret?
Yeah, why is it a secret?
Why are you hiding this revelation from the people? We need this. And it's like you said, again, and they bring up this conversation, I think the people are constantly demanding what they want. It's not that hard. You just got to open up your ear and listen. The people really have some information. They really have opinions that need to be taken into account. And I think that's where the frustration lies at the moment, is that it feels like everything we say is landing on deaf ears because regardless of our opinion, there's someone else that makes a different decision that possibly goes against the people. We're going to carry on this conversation. So, of course, we've got two specialists right here on the couch. I'm so excited to have this conversation going, and I hope you are too, Mzansi. Get involved. Use the number 063-408-8863 to share your opinion on this matter right now, and we'll catch you after this.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Bum, bum, bum. Yes, we are back. The final installment of this incredible conversation. We still got two specialists here, but let me talk to you about the topic that we're bringing in right now. So Western Cape Premier Alan Winde has said that if Russian President Vladimir Putin puts a foot in the Western Cape, he'll order the province's LEAP officers to arrest him. Oh, a grand statement indeed. Of course, we've still got our two specialists on the couch. But let's dive straight into this. Firstly, guys, what exactly are, what are the LEAP officers? Just so we all have an understanding of that. Do you know, Roy?
So this is in the Western Cape. These are the Law Enforcement Advancement Plan officers. So these are sort of support services for the police. They have a lot of policing functions. They have uniforms. They have
I've actually seen this on the roads. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yeah, yeah.
And the government of the Western Cape and the government of the Metro, the Cape Town, of course.
Metropole, yeah.
They put the money up for these LEAP officers. So they answer to the Premier, for example, and to the Mayor. Interestingly, Gauteng's done just the same thing. Literally the other day, they launched their program, which is very much the same, where there are these extra officers.
Okay.
So theoretically, yes, the Premier could say to these guys, go ahead and arrest him. But it's just not that plain and simple by any measure.
Yeah, so let's play this scenario out. Like, let's say this was to actually happen. Let's say he lands here, somehow the LEAP officers get hold of him. Is this in line with, let's say, what South Africa as a whole would actually want? Is this what we as a nation would want? Or is he going kind of against necessarily the overall narrative of what the country is actually desiring in this situation? Is there an opinion on that at all?
Oh, totally. I think we're very clear on the fact that South Africa's stance is, while we say it's neutral, it's somewhat pro-Russia. We are part of a world order that is BRICS-oriented. Yes. It's certainly not NATO-oriented. So that's our national position. But of course, the DA controls the Western Cape. This is where Alan Winde is the Democratic Alliance's premier. And they're trying to differentiate themselves. They have said they're pro-Ukraine because Russia broke international law and invaded the Ukraine, or invaded Ukraine rather. And they've tried to make it a differential point between themselves and national government that they don't support Russia in this one. And this is part of that. This is political grandstanding. This is unusual for Alan Winde, who's...
Especially with so many South Africans, particularly young people, who are excited by the prospect of BRICS, very much aware of everything that Russia has been doing and is doing. But I think he's just being spicy. You know, he's... when last was he even in a headline? You know, like everyone's in the headlines for something.
Very PC a lot of the time.
And he thinks he's really going to try arrest the guy from the country of the KGB. You know, like we might not know what the KGB does or if they still exist, but it's kind of like our armed forces or pretend armed forces.
Who's your money on for this one?
Versus whoever Putin is bringing. You know, Putin's leaving Russia. But, you know, he's not going to leave with the Mickey Mouse SAPS of South Africa's standard.
Yeah, he's coming with some heat
He's
and
coming
protection,
with guys who can do some things.
And around that would be the SAPS's VIP protection unit.
But this is the thing,
and somehow these poor LEAP officers would need to penetrate both rings of security and then physically arrest.
So is there jurisdiction to be able to even do something like this? Like, who has the overall, like, final say in what actually happens in that scenario? Because that's a real possible scenario, right? Let's say he actually comes through here, he's gonna have all of that. What do the LEAP guys do? They're like, stand aside. We've got work to do.
We're here for Putin.
You know what I mean?
So that's the thing, is that this is such murky turf. In fact, Becky Cele, as Minister of Police, has argued for a long time that the LEAP officer program isn't even legal. And he's not actually done anything around it. He hasn't gone to court to have this process stopped, which indicates just how much confusion and grey area there is around this. Because there's a little bit of federalism built into our system. That's why we have premiers. This is why we have the National Council of Provinces. So each province and each premier has a bit of power, and the devolution of police powers to provinces can be done within the Constitution. It just hasn't been done. So no, who actually has the right and who can make the calls is very murky, because these LEAP officers don't... They do effect arrests, but they don't actually arrest and process people. The South African police services need to do that. So it's all very touchy-feely, try and work out the power relationships as you go along. And I think basically Alan Winde knows his bluff's not going to be called. This isn't going to happen.
But it's a statement nonetheless.
If anything, this is PR for the LEAP officers, right?
Yes.
There are 190,000 people employed by the SAPS. I read this in the Daily Maverick yesterday, which I found to be like extremely shocking. Not only are our police like under-resourced, understaffed, under-trained, clueless, you know, 86% of cases are being reported, but I mean, 86 of cases that were reported in the last year were not solved. So it's like, they don't like the LEAP officers, but they kind of need them there, you know. What happens at the police station?
Interesting stuff indeed.
There's deep politics.
I think this is something that we're going to leave up to you, Mzansi, for the rest of this. You can make your own analogies as to what you think is going on. Are you in support of Winde's massive statements, or are you just here for the protection that LEAP is providing and other various officers in the same suit? For now, though, I just want to say thank you to both of you. Zetu and Roy, you guys have been absolutely incredible on the couch. We look forward to seeing more of you and enlightening us when it comes to opinions and everything else headline-related. For now, though, speaking of headlines, it's time to say hello to the man himself, G-Man, and find out what's happening the latest when it comes to our headlines.
Yeah, let's see where the tyres hit the tar this morning. Very good morning. Welcome to our national news headlines first. Let's see the state of affairs currently in SA. That's where we start, where the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has now confirmed that the South Africans who were stranded in Egypt due to a lack of required documents have been granted permission to enter the country. So Egyptian authorities have issued a release order to the 22 South Africans stranded on a cargo ship in Port Safaga in Egypt, allowing them to now disembark. The group stranded in Egypt since Saturday after fleeing war-torn Sudan made contact with the Gift of the Givers yesterday. That seemed to hold the key. They'll now fly back to South Africa via Ethiopia. Then the city of Johannesburg will not have a mayor at least until Friday. This after the Speaker of Council, Colleen Makubele, postponed the voting for a new mayor until Friday. So councillors of different political parties requested endless caucus breaks that lasted the entire day. Last month, Al Jama's Tapelo Ahmad resigned from the position, leaving the mayoral chair empty. As it currently stands, and like other metros in Gauteng, such as Ekurhuleni and Tshwane, Johannesburg has been marred by instability in leadership, and coalition parties continue to struggle to reach an agreement in that space. Now let's cast a wider gaze on the international news front. A man widely regarded as the godfather of artificial intelligence, AI, has quit his job, warning of the growing dangers from developments in his field. Dr. Jeffrey Hinton, now 75 years old, announced his resignation from Google in a statement to newspapers, saying he now regretted his work. He said some of the dangers of AI chatbots were quite scary, and that's a quote. And he added, again, we quote right now, "They are not more intelligent than we are, as far as I can tell, but I think they soon may be." Heed that warning. Now, an emergency radio service for Sudan was launched on BBC News Arabic yesterday. So the pop-up radio service will be broadcast twice daily for 3 months, providing news and information for people in that war-torn African nation as it happens. And it'll include eyewitness accounts and news on diplomatic efforts that will help counter the disinformation that's filling that space. And programs will be broadcast live from London with input from teams in Amman, in Jordan, and Egypt's capital, Cairo, as well. And it'll also be available online, where listeners will hear information on how to access essential supplies and services. Now, in an absolutely incredulous change of fortune involving a dog named Indy, a Welsh woman with late-stage renal failure met a kidney donor on a beach who happened to be a perfect match. What are the odds? So in 2017, doctors told Lucy Humphrey, 44 at the time, she only had 5 years left if she couldn't find a new kidney. Now, requiring kidney dialysis, Humphrey and her partner, Senate Owen, they couldn't go camping and opted for a beach instead. And while there, her Doberman Indy kept scampering over to pester a woman who was crocheting on the beach. Now, a red-faced Owen soon went over to apologize to the woman. Katie James wasn't fazed and started chatting to Humphrey. Well, now, you've probably guessed it, blood tests later revealed that the two women were indeed a perfect match, a development later described as a 1 in a 22 million chance. So there you have the odds. And the kidney transplant took place, and the two women have become lasting friends, understandably. And Indy, well, what drove him to go pestering James, we'll probably never know. I think the dogs might know, but he's presently one of the most popular poochers in Wales. Well, now global, and we're here for that. And that's where we leave our news headlines. Let's touch on the sport. It's a start in the English Premier League, where Arsenal delivered an emphatic warning that they remain serious title contenders, outclassing an abysmal Chelsea 3-1 to return to the top of the Premier League table. So the Gunners had gone 4 league games without a win and were heavily beaten last time out at reigning champions Man City, who seemed to be in the pound seat, replaced them on the summit with victory at Fulham on Sunday. But Mikel Arteta's side, they bounced back and are back at the summit, although City do have 2 games still in hand. And leading from the front, as he's done all season, Martin Odegaard scored twice, while Gabriel Jesus, he added a third before Nondi Madueke added that consolation goal for the visitors. And staying with footballing news, Argentina's captain Lionel Messi has been suspended by Paris Saint-Germain for 2 weeks after traveling to Saudi Arabia without the club's permission this week, and he will not train or play for PSG during the period of his suspension. Quite a big move. So the trip followed the French club's home defeat by Lorient on Sunday, in which Messi played the full 90 minutes. But it's understood the 35-year-old has a role as a tourism ambassador for Saudi Arabia and asked permission to make the journey to carry out commercial work, but was refused, and he went anyway. How powerful is the player? Now we turn to cricket, and India overtook Australia to go #1 in new test rankings issued by the ICC, while also retaining the top position in T20. So India last topped the test rankings for a month in December 2021, while Australia has been #1 since January of 2022. That was after hammering England 4-0 in the Ashes. England are third, with the rest of the table remaining pretty much unchanged. South Africa fourth, New Zealand fifth, ahead of Pakistan, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh, and of course our African neighbours, Zimbabwe. Now we turn to tennis, and world #1 Novak Djokovic will be able to play at this year's US Open. That was after the United States confirmed international travellers will no longer need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Yes, that story still continues. So US policy will change on the 12th of this month, being May, and allowing the Serb Djokovic to return to Flushing Meadows in August. And what a welcome return it'll be. The 22-time Grand Slam winners was of course forced to miss last year's tournament because of his vaccination status and stance. He also missed the past 2 Masters events in Indian Wells and Miami. So great to see him back in the circuit for the next big one. But that's where we leave our sport for now. By now the roads are waking up. Let's get you to work safely. Ra's got the latest on the traffic front.
Thank you so much, G-Man, and let's take our first look at the traffic this morning in the Johannesburg area. To be specific, there is a stationary taxi on the N3 northbound. Now this before Elands interchange. So the left lane is obstructed, so please approach this area with caution. Sticking to the area now, and more Gauteng to be specific, there's been a multi-vehicle accident on the N12 westbound after Jet Road Park. Now, the left shoulder is closed, so again, drive carefully when approaching the affected area. And for anybody heading on the roads, stay safe, buckle up, and plan accordingly. For now, though, time to head to the roads, well, from the roads to the sky, and find out what's happening in the latest when it comes to weather. Now reporting on weather news for this edition, the little rain that fell a few weeks ago in Somalia did little to ease the existing dire conditions. Now, although new young patches of bright green growth dot the sandy terrain of Dolo, it's not enough to feed the some 150 Somalis who have left home to seek help in the southern town. Now, famine has been declared twice in the past 11 years in the region, and in Somalia in 2011 and in parts of South Sudan in 2017. Now, Somalia managed to avert an official famine declaration last year thanks to a massive influx of humanitarian aid. But even without the famine declaration, there was some 43,000 excess deaths in 2022. Now, this in the country linked to drought, and half thereof children under the age of 5. Now, after 5 consecutive failed rainy seasons, the drought is regarded as East Africa's worst in 40 years and has already forced millions of Somalis to leave their homes. Now, this has again pushed the fragile nation to the brink of famine. Well, our condolences definitely go out to all those that are suffering from this right now, but it's time to head from our weather news to those incredible sunrise views sent in by you, our viewers. And for this 7 o'clock edition, we've got Antoinette from Morgan Bay Cliffs. Now, this is her gorgeous view of the risen sun on the horizon, and look at that. What an amazing capture. What a beautiful moment. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got Derek Naidu from Durban North Beach, and he's absolutely epic view of the beach from his apartment. I mean, look at that, a perfect day. What a beautiful view. And oh, the waves are looking cooker looks. Love it indeed. Next up, we've got from Retreat, it's a Requiem Bester, and his morning view of the cloudy filled sky. Beautiful, beautiful stuff indeed. Thank you for sending that through. And then we've got Lorraine Cilliers from Morgan Bay Beach. And again, it's an absolutely stunning view of the sea. It's giving us all the feels, and we love it. Look at that, the tranquil waves rippling along the banks towards the shore. I absolutely love this shot. Thank you so much, Mzansi, for sending these incredible pictures through. Keep it coming on 063-408-8863. We love seeing how you start your day. Let's take another look at the temperatures across the country now, starting in Polokwane. A lot of rain coming through on your side of town. 12 is your low, up to a high of 28 degrees. Mobela, much the same, wet conditions from 16 up to 28. Pretoria, 13 is your low, up to a high of 28 with rain coming through, and much the same for Joburg. 11 being your low, up to a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Celsius. Moving over to Mahikeng now, they're starting at a low of 13 up to 30 degrees. You can expect a 13 from Klerksdorp too, moving up to a high of 29. Kimberley starts the day on a chillier 7 degrees up to 27. Sunny skies expected. And Bloemfontein, even chillier start of 3 degrees up to a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now over to Richards Bay. The day starting at a low of 19 up to a high of 24. Thunder and lightning expected in your side of town, and much the same for Pietermaritzburg, 14 up to a high of 21 degrees. Durban continues with the wet conditions from 18 up to 24, and Mthatha, 10 is your low up to a high of 23, and the rain does continue on your side of town. Let's carry on around the coast now over to East London. The day starting at a low of 14 up to 23 degrees. Cradock sees a chillier start of 6 degrees up to moderate 24. GQ Becha sees the day starting at 13 up to 22 degrees. And George, 12 is your low up to a high of 20 degrees Celsius. Around the coast and carrying on to the mother city, 12 is your low up to a high of 20 degrees Celsius. Worcester sees the day starting at a chilly 8 up to 27. Sutherland even chillier at 6 degrees to start the day up to a moderate 22. Sunny skies all the way around, and much the same for Uppington from a chilly 7 all the way up to a scorcher at 30 degrees Celsius. Again, Mzansi, thank you for sending those incredible pictures in. And speaking of incredible, let's chat to the rest of the team and see what else we'll expect for the show.
It's a crazy old world out there. I'll leave for a second and Zed's come in and replace me on the job. I'm there for that. I absolutely love it. How are you finding the vibe here? It's quite a crazy, intense thing at 6 in the morning.
I absolutely love it. In case of emergency, do break glass again.
I love it. She is here for us. Finally, we found someone who matches our level of crazy.
Yes.
We're going to sink our teeth into all of the news that affects you this morning, and that's our drive, is to figure out how we can help. So if there's anything affecting you right now, let us know. 063 408 8863. She's ready to answer all of your questions.
Yes.
Right now.
Pain is the biggest pain in the... That's why ActiPatch is such a welcome, drug-free answer to treating back pain, chronic pain, and pain associated with arthritis. And what will have you feeling even better is that 3 lucky Expresso viewers stand a chance to win 5,000 Rand every week from the 26th of April to the 11th of May. Reply to the competition post on the Expresso social media pages using hashtag ActiPatch and long-lasting pain relief. Don't miss it. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for joining us for what has been a frenetic and a very rewarding show. And it's going to get even better for us. Why? Because we love our sleep. We absolutely love our sleep, but we want the premium experience and we want it to be accessible. Now, your throne needs to be built for comfort and luxury, especially when it's that place where you lie your head. For us, it's an essential in our world. We need a good night's sleep. And today, we have the pleasure of taking a deep dive into the incredible range on offer at the Bed Shop with COO Jade Cole and Marketing Executive Pam Naidu, who might love beds maybe just a little bit more than us.
We surely do.
Just a little bit more. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I love focusing on local business that is doing amazing things. In a space like this that could be possibly dominated by some major international players, you guys have an incredible name, an incredible range. So maybe, Jade, a good place to start with you is where does the love of sleep tie into your ecosystem? Where did the Bed Shop come from to be able to get to this point?
The Bed Shop started about 29 years ago now.
Wow.
It's the oldest bed specialist in the country. Been around for a long time, which is wonderful to know that a local brand has been around that long.
Can do that, yeah.
Yes. So, and the Bed Shop's always been based on manufacturing and selling its own product through the Bed Shop. And we obviously spend a lot of time in innovating, having a look at other products, making a good product for a South African market. I think we are different in terms of the rest of the world, in terms of how we sleep, what we like to sleep on. And we enjoy making it for our customers.
It's the most personal space. You know, they say one of the highest pressure jobs is being a hairdresser, for that same notion of stepping into someone else's space. Now, we are bringing you into the most personal of our spaces. There's something powerful about that. I've got to ask, South Africans, do we like a hard bed? Do we like a soft bed? Are we...
Depends on the province, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who's the hardest province?
Probably the northern province. They like their beds to be firmer. Down on the coast, people like softer beds. So it's very unique, and even down to different colours. So I think people enjoy shopping beds that are different colours. People in certain parts of the country like their beds to be darker, and other people in other parts of the country like beds to be slightly lighter. So it's very unique. And once again, comfort is subjective. So the other thing that you're always trying to figure out is who likes to sleep on a soft bed, firm bed, gentle, firm bed, because we all have different preferences.
So you're people specialists, you're not bed specialists. You've got to know South Africa. You've got to know South Africans. You do play in a very competitive space with some big names, with big budgets that bring in, I would imagine, a lot of stock. How have you been able to carve this space for yourselves? What makes this brand so beautifully South African, and what has allowed you to push for nearly 3 decades?
I think for us, it's the customer centricity. So we are actually active on all social media platforms, and we do listen to our customers, and we do try to improve our service levels with every single customer query. And we're trying to understand our customers is most importantly, and what their requirements are.
Because I think for all of us, it's changed. If we're going to spend any money now, you really need to be motivated to do that. Quality is a massive, massive thing. How have you been able to find that balance to be able to create really good quality stuff in South Africa that is bespoke, that fits that South African model? What's the culture like in this company? What has allowed you to keep going for 3 decades and stay innovative in this space?
I think innovation. I think innovation and keeping in touch with what's happening overseas. I think we as South Africans have a very different view on how we like to sleep, our personal space. I think bedrooms after COVID became a very personal space for many people. So a lot of people invested in that space. They like to spend a lot of time there. So for us, we're constantly reviewing what's going on. We buy competitor beds, we strip them down. I don't think to just clear up, I mean, international brands are all made locally. Nothing is imported from overseas. So they locally produce beds with an overseas label. We, to a large extent, are not bound by any of that specific dogma around what you can or can't do in a brand. So we are free to innovate, try new products. There's so much innovation in foam. Cooling material now is a big thing. Gel-infused foam is a really big trend at the moment. So I think people in South Africa, when they get hot, they want their bed to be a cool space, and vice versa. Right?
And it's crazy at the moment. I woke up on the most freezing night last night, dripping in sweat for managing that space. I love this notion that you can almost go onto an Instagram, look for the latest bed trends, the things that excite you, the stuff that you like, and there is a market where a local market that can be so bespoke. How do we engage with you guys? How do we connect with you? How do we start our own perfect sleep journey with the Bed Shop?
You can contact us. We have over 110 stores nationwide, or you can shop at thebedshop.co.za.
I would start there. Do you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you go onto our website, all of our beds come with a very clear description of what the comfort levels are made up, whether it's banal, pocket spring, or multi-layered foam. I think, so the navigation of what you like to sleep on, the best thing is to go in and test the bed, right?
For sure.
I mean, shop our shops, go in, lie down, help our people will help you to find the best comfort level for you.
If my eyes have been open to this degree with just 5 minutes chatting to you guys and I'm thinking about my son's next evolution of his room and his space, but it's just dawned on me, the fact that you raised that we have spent so much time in that space. I think everyone is looking to clean our house, maybe find something new within that living space, maybe rejuvenate their living space. This could be the perfect way to rejuvenate, yes, the space, but yourself as well. Maybe that perfect night's sleep is waiting for you at the Bed Shop. I would suggest starting online, thebedshop.co.za, but get into a store, speak to an expert, let them ask you those questions to find out what kind of sleeper you are, and then get the perfect bed for you and your family. Guys, well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love that conversation. Now, let's change things up a bit, all right? Bring my singing voice out here. Monday, you can pick up on this one. If somebody hit the lights, how would you choose to rock it from AM to PM? I don't know. Something like that. It's a similar song to that. It kind of sounds like from AM to PM. I think it's something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? You got it. Okay, someone's got it. Someone's on the same wavelength than me. Let me get another guy in here just to hopefully add some more to this scenario. G-Man, get in here, brother. I want to get you a part of this one because, of course, Mzansi, it's time for another round of Would You Rather Down. Yes. Now, this is the scenario. Zeto, I don't know if you played this game before, but we're going to ask you your opinion. It's an A or B type of scenario. Now, this one's pretty interesting. You're tired of quick fixes during load shedding, right? So you need to get ready to invest in a long-term solution. So the question is, would you rather, A, install solar panels, which are very expensive, but increase your property value, very expensive, might I add, or buy a generator, not as expensive, but it will cost monthly in petrol, but at least you can take it with you if you move or go anywhere.
Just saying, I can't hear you, Ralph, from the generator outside. What did you say, buddy? I can't...
That was something I'm interested in. Is it still just a noisy thing?
Yeah. I sat outside a coffee shop, an amazing coffee shop, and I love everyone who worked there. You probably know what I'm talking about, guys, you know. But, dude, no one could hear each other. And kudos for them to making a plan, but it's a lot.
Hey, the birds are killed. Zitu, what would you do in this situation? This is a tough one.
First of all, I'm a renter, so solar panels are not an option.
Okay,
I think my landlord immediately would say no.
Same, yeah.
Solar panels on my balcony would not work. I would most likely go for a generator. I haven't gone for anything, to be honest. It's me, my UPS, and that emergency light against the wind.
Just the essentials. I've had this question because I'm deciding on whether it's worth investing in solar, right?
Because you've got a property.
Yeah, finally got a property. I've got debt now. But what's interesting to me is, yes, it might increase the value of the property, but for how long? Look how fast technology increases these days. In 5 years' time, and I want to sell the property, it might be obsolete. What was the point of spending that 100K?
Solar might be free.
Yeah,
you never know. It's a function of government.
Yeah, we of course asked you, Mzansi, online what you would choose between these two options. So let's take a look and see what we've got. Firstly, Sharon Curry, straight up A.
She got the money, yo. Aubrey, I'm saying definitely A.
Okay.
People are quite emphatic about this.
Land.
Renee's like, I'm going for A. Like, she's still sort of deciding. Sylvia, hey, definitely A. Done. Boom. If you've got the bag...
Everybody in South Africa just have land, eh? Nice.
Yeah, but maybe it's better to have solar panels. It is. I think Vincent, on the money, and this is the bottom line, I'd definitely go for A. Take your money seriously.
Nice.
It is an investment, and it begs the question, and then King's saying, because I can save more money in the long term, definitely. Karen, definitely A, but have to be B
too noisy. So no one is liking generators these days.
Yeah, it feels a bit antiquated. It feels like it's the previous solution, and now we found a new solution. But it begs the question, when is the impetus then going to be on our landlords, if we are renting properties, to offer a solution in that? Are you going to start seeing, because I know there is incentives from banks, from government, obviously, to go large scale. Are we going to see property developers only putting up solar-driven units from now on? Where does that
Or maybe you need to
financial line-
reduce my monthly cost because you're not offering me a 24-hour service now.
I'm not your landlord. Do not come after me, bro.
I didn't look at someone here.
Come on.
He's going to be himself.
Exactly. I was going to rent a room from you, dude, when you got solar. I thought that was the plan.
Well, whatever it is and whatever your decision, if you are looking to invest in a power solution for your home, then Nedbank is making it more convenient and affordable than ever to take out a personal loan. And that's with fantastic rates and flexible repayment terms. Plus, if you open a Savvy account with your loan, you could qualify for up to 200 Rand back per month for the duration of your loan. All of this and more. And you want to find out any more details, visit nedbank.co.za right now. Go get that solar panel. You earned it.
Just one panel.
Join the bank that's best for your loan. Choose up to 200 Rand cashback monthly with a personal loan. Apply for a personal loan and a Savvy account today. Nedbank. See money differently.
It's my feel-good show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us and rejoining what has been a very interesting conversation this morning. We now turn to our health, and sometimes our body is not in the best health to move or shake alongside our family and friends. We find this out on our show every day, and it seems like those aches and pains are the order of the day. In fact, that's where you start generally. However, if you're looking for a combination of long-lasting relief and knowledge, then this discussion will gift you both. Come join our community, and here to discuss back pain generally is specialist orthopedic spinal surgeon, Dr. Resham Artwaru. Thank you so much for joining us, Doc. It's amazing to me how many people are affected by some degree of back pain. So in your space, because I know every person is completely different, but you've got to find a common thread to be able to focus on solutions. So how have you defined back pain for you? How do you approach this space?
One has to be mindful that lower back pain is perhaps one of the commonest reasons that young adults between the age of maybe 20 to 40 would see a healthcare professional, perhaps sometimes even for the first time.
Really? Yeah.
What's important to understand is that the vast majority of lower back pain will run a self-limiting benign course. It's quite important that one distinguishes between non-specific lower back pain or mechanical back pain, and on the other end of the spectrum is pathological back pain. So back pain which is accompanied by what we loosely term as red flags, which require immediate and urgent attention.
And it's a difficult space to know, because you can go 0 to 100 very, very quickly. And yeah, I've had a mate who I've had to come and rescue, stuck in a spasm literally on his fall.
Yes.
I've gone through this crazy journey myself after my own kind of microdiscectomy, kind of keyhole surgery that was massively successful, but then really struggled with the rehab because of COVID. It was like literally the second week of COVID. No one could go anywhere. That has been the biggest issue, but the battle has been waged in my mind and it's been waged in my body.
Yes.
And it's a difficult thing to know where to begin in that sense. So maybe let's start with the root causes of what's hammering that lower back and back pain in general. What are the main culprits here? Why is it so prevalent?
Well, we have to, I did mention earlier that between 20 to 40 year age group is where this condition is quite prevalent. This is an active section of the population, both physically and economically. There are high degrees of stresses placed on that group of patients. The commonest cause of lower back pain is usually activity related. In about 70% of the time, as I mentioned, are benign and self-limiting.
And it just works itself through that system.
Yes.
It's amazing to me. The journey for me has been partly about finding amazing practitioners to work and help me through that journey, or other sufferers, and everyone's got a trick or a perspective, and just being able to talk to people about it often kind of makes it feel a little less intense in that sense. But it kind of feels like half the world has it and half the world doesn't. People will have scoliosis, like in my case, a skew spine, and never have an issue with it. I went through a particular gateway that just sent it to another stratosphere. Why is it so different for each person? Is it because the back connects the whole system together? Why is this such a grey, murky area from my perspective? Obviously, you have a specialization in that space, but it must make practicing in this space very difficult.
Of course, yeah. So pain is a very subjective experience. And subjected to certain stimuli, different people will react differently. So it is obviously related to your personality profile, your activity profile, also your beliefs about pain.
Yeah.
To understand lower back pain, it's actually a multifactorial problem, and it's not just an anatomical issue. What pain tends to do is that it does affect every aspect of one's life. It can affect the way you function, it can affect your mood, it can affect your occupation, and lower back pain has caused a lot of time off work, and it's quite an expensive illness. So the focus of our management is to try and get people back into their lifestyle and get back to work as soon as possible. So it might be almost like a paradox, but movement is what we encourage. Movement.
Thank you for saying that. If I could distill the last 3 years into one word, mentally and physically, because it's been one of the greatest mental challenges I've gone through as well, movement is key. To hear a doctor speak about it from this holistic perspective, as specialized as you are, is amazing to me. Once again, it's almost like you're a human specialist more than a back specialist in that space. But thank you so much for opening that window. And I think the bottom line here is there is help at hand. There are resources that you can tap into. And I know pain is very different for each person. It may hide in plain sight, but after you've identified it, you have the knowledge and you can be empowered to do something about it. You can live a much happier, engaged life. And we're about to grant some pain relief in the short term to some of our viewers by announcing our ActiPatch competition winners. And you're going to win big.
Oh yes, what a beautiful conversation. We're talking about how to deal with pain and of course maybe also moving. And we're going to keep moving right now. And as you heard, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Now ActiPatch is a new and clinically proven treatment in the fight against chronic pain. Now they've given 20 lucky viewers the chance to win an ActiPatch device by answering the competition question on our social pages. So today we are excited to announce our next 4 winners. Yes, so first up, let's congratulate Charlene Jacobs, our first winner. Yes! The studio's going crazy now. She said, I was in a car accident a few years ago and I have been suffering from back pain since. It gets worse in winter to the point I can't even sleep. Of course, using the hashtags ActiPatch and long-lasting pain relief. I love it. First winner up. Who's next? Next up, we've got Patrick Mudavi. Yes! Everybody's getting a victory dance for this one. Now, he wrote, I've joint pain on my left knee. The reason for it was that I carried heavy weight, which put pressure on my knees. Beautiful stuff. Another winner in the bag. We've got 2 more to announce. Next up, we have Moses and Thuli. Yes! Now, Moses said, I suffer from pain in my knee, and that's due to a sports injury. I know a lot of us can relate to that. And Moses, congratulations. You're one of the winners. And the last one is Taryn Hendricks. Our 4th and final winner this morning, Taryn Hendricks, coming through, and she said the following: I've had 3 C-sections, and in winter and cold days, I suffer from lower back pain and my legs pain. All I do is get myself an ActiPatch and ointment rub, and in brackets, gynecologist and GP recommended that, and then she says, I am good to go after that. Beautiful stuff from Zanzi. I love the fact that you shared your stories with us and correctly used the hashtags too, and with that, you can't go through life letting pain dictate your next move. Now, thanks to ActiPatch, you no longer have to. Congratulations!
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, South Africa, to the culinary hotline. Bling! Ding! What an amazing morning, finding out about current affairs and everything happening in the world. We're going to just bring it down a little bit. Get back into the kitchen for some delicious pizza. Enrico?
Yes, sure.
We are about to get to the business, well, almost the business. We've got a beautiful dough shape now.
Yes.
And we're going to lay it down and talk about the tomato sauce.
Absolutely.
But first, we've got a voice note from Kyle on the topic of pineapple on pizza. Kyle, what have you got to say?
Strong one.
Good morning, Expresso team. It's Kyle Naidu from Pietermaritzburg. I definitely think pineapple belongs on pizza. It's one of my favorites.
I wish South Africa could hear what I'm hearing in my ear. The people upstairs are going, no, it belongs in a salad. You know what, Carl? It's okay. I don't hate pineapple on a pizza, but it's not every pizza. Pineapple on a pizza, like if someone comes to Pizza Connection and says, I want pineapple on my beautiful pistachio pizza, do you cry?
We generally try to calm down and not to get too crazy, but no, it's a no-no. It's a no-no. We actually experimented a couple of times pineapple on pizza, but without tomato sauce, with caramelized onion, some ham. It does work.
Okay,
it does work. So
but not every pizza.
Not on every pizza. Not on every pizza.
Carl, I'm with you.
It must be gourmet stuff.
Gourmet stuff. I'm with you. Pineapple on a pizza is okay on the right pizza. What we're making right now is we've got this beautiful dough, and now we're going to get cracking on the tomato sauce.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like, like I said, you've got that pizza base, you've got the toppings. The tomato sauce is very important because, number one, it's the glue, but it's also a significant flavor.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what you want from your tomato sauce, in my opinion, and what actually the tradition says, you don't have to overspice it. Actually, you want to feel and to taste the tomato. Because it does actually have his flavor.
And that's why you got to really focus on getting the best quality tomatoes.
Quality in pizza is actually a must.
So there we go. So today we've got some Italian peeled tomatoes, and it's organic. Into the bowl?
Absolutely.
And these are whole, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are.
Yeah. Whole peeled tomatoes. We use it with the whole juice. And
I do feel like whole tin tomatoes actually have a more intense
flavor.
I want to say depth of flavor when it comes to tomato, because again, you can smell the tomato before you even done anything to it, and it's cold. So I do like working with the whole tomatoes, especially when it's so significant in the sauce, like for the pizza. My question, I see we have this.
Yes.
Is this how we're going to mash it?
There are two techniques.
Okay.
We use generally something similar at a restaurant, but if you want, you might crush it with your hand.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the way that we do it at home.
I do like using my hands for this job because I guess you can kind of feel the texture of the tomato.
Absolutely.
You don't go too fine. Okay, show us the way.
It's super, super simple. We take one, we try not to mess everything around.
See, I'm stepping back, because I know.
I can see you.
I know.
Actually quite scared.
So that's it. And you want to keep it nice and chunky. You want pieces of it still. You don't want it to be a puree.
It doesn't have to be too much of a puree, but it needs to be liquid.
Right.
It needs to be creamy.
So we're going to... South Africa, when you do this at home, it's not a forceful squeeze. It's gentle. It's gentle. So there we go. There we go. If you do squeeze too hard, what's going to happen is it's going to go everywhere. There we go. So don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, cool. So perfect. Nice and gentle. There we go. So let's talk about this dough. So the dough's going to go down.
The dough, it's fermented now. It's relaxed. So we're gonna open it. Very generous semolina on top of it.
So the semolina, I like using semolina because it's coarse.
Yes, it's coarse.
It's coarse. So it gives you a bit of texture, and it also just helps the pizza dough from...
Absolutely, and gives you also quite of a sensation in your mouth when you eat it, because it does stuck on top of the dough. We're gonna open it only with our hands. We don't use rolling pins.
You use your hands, I like it.
Absolutely, because we want to respect the air that actually we formed inside the dough.
So we're not knocking that out?
Absolutely not.
We're trying to keep it in there. Perfect.
Absolutely. So we seal the borders on this one first. And then we go gentle with our fingers inside.
And
one turn.
You can literally see those bubbles beginning to surface.
And you want to keep them, absolutely. Because you want the heat.
And then do we oil this first?
Absolutely. Okay. Yes, I forgot. Thank you.
And I like that you're using this tin. Tell me when.
That's it.
I like we're using this tin because I feel like this is a tin that you'll find in every South African home.
Absolutely.
Not as shiny, not as new, but yeah. So this is a perfect way of how we would actually make this pizza at home because number one, the oven, nice and hot. We got this baking tray, which is a little different to how you do it at the restaurant, but I love that you're coming in today to teach us how to make this at home.
You see, It's such a comfort food at home. It's actually bring the family together, and it's cool. I mean,
it is cool. It's pizza. It's pizza.
It's super comfort.
So we're staying delicate with the dough the whole time?
Absolutely. And we open it up very gently inside the tray. It's important at home to use a very, very light tray, as light as possible, so the heat can actually go through it.
So this is not that pizza that we're going to toss up in the air and spin?
Absolutely not.
No, this is so
high
different.
Hydration.
This is delicate, be gentle with it.
Absolutely.
Don't spin your pizza in the air.
Never.
So something very interesting. I asked you earlier, like, once we get to this point, do we add the tomato sauce? And you said no.
No.
At home, there's a trick.
There is a trick, actually. There is a pre-cooking trick, because the oven at home is going to be 250 degrees average. And if we actually put the tomato sauce on top, it's going to soak inside the dough.
Of course.
So we're going to pre-cook it for 10 minutes at 250 degrees. Then we take it out, and then we garnish it.
I love that, and that's the result when we've done that first bake.
Absolutely.
I love it. Let's see what some of our viewers have to say on social media. Kirsten Bray says, she says hand, sometimes folded, sometimes crust fold, especially if there's dressing, garlic-based, ranch, or Italian. I was introduced to dipping pizza when staying at a hotel where they had a manager appetizer evening. Okay, I get you. Very quickly.
Yes.
The dipping of the crust as well. I love that, because you do a very special pizza, which has a ricotta fold crust.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. Like there've been people in the past that have just put the crust to the side. But there's a new game now where you've got to like show off when it comes to your crust.
Absolutely.
And like Kirsty was saying, the crust is a must. Getting with the hands in there, dipping it.
The crust is a must. Depends. For instance, I eat pizza quite often, and I try not to eat the crust, even if I love it.
Okay.
I have a piece, and that's it. But when I actually have my one with the filled crust with ricotta, I can't resist. I need to have it.
Oh, my goodness.
But the dip, it's a good
The
idea.
dip is a thing.
It's a good idea.
So I'm going to need to change my glasses because I'm getting a lot of comments coming through this morning about people saying, knife and forks away. So let's see. Lynn Truter says she loves eating her pizza with a knife and fork. I'm going to ask the team to get me some more glasses because I did not expect to see that coming through. A lot of people saying knife and fork with a pizza. Yeah, we love it. We love it. A lot of heads saying no at the back. We love it. Anyway, as long as you can eat the pizza. Enrico, when we come back, we're going to actually get this pizza topped and finally make that delicious pizza. South Africa, don't go away. Those voice notes, keep them coming, and let us know on social media as well. How do you prefer eating your pizza? Don't go anywhere.
All in my mouth. All in my mouth. That's how I love it.
I've been on a low-carb diet for a while now, bro. You don't understand.
The devil is here, man.
Oh, come to me, my friend. But yes, we are on a health kick as well, and we've got some pretty powerful friends in our corner to help us get there. Everyone's favorite Tropica Island in a bottle is finally here, now with absolutely zero added sugar.
Oh, yes, that's enough to celebrate, but we're going to keep it going because Kuhle recently hit the streets of Joburg to ask the people of Mzansi what they think. Well, let's take a look and find out.
Get ready to experience the taste of Tropica Zero, a drink that has taken Mzansi by storm with zero added sugar and multiple different flavors. It is sure to satisfy your thirst and leave you refreshed all day. Everyone has to try it out, okay? That is why we are here at Bara Square to find out exactly what Mzansi thinks about the new drink.
I'm so excited about the Tropica Zero because it caters for us health freaks, you know what I mean?
My favorite flavor is pineapple.
My favorite flavor, not the orange. I like the peach more. Yeah, well, peach. I'm more of a peach kind of guy. Yeah.
My favorite is peach.
Winner?
OI, orange. Yeah, orange. My favorite is orange.
I'm enjoying it because it's zero free. Actually, it doesn't have too much sugar for me. Since well, I'm no longer taking too much sugar, so this one actually it blends well with my health lately, so it's nice and smooth as well.
Indulge in that delicious tropical flavor no matter where you are with 3 signature flavors, the pineapple, orange, and the mango peach. Just allow the taste of Tropica to take you to a world of paradise.
If I had to describe Tropica in one word, I would say it's amazing.
If I had to rank my Tropica flavors, it will be mango and peach first. Second place, it will be orange. And third place will be pineapple.
Okay, if I had to describe Tropica using one word, it would be smooth.
Yo, imnandi. Yo, number one.
You can see behind me, the excitement cannot be contained. Tropica Zero is now available in stores. You cannot miss it. It's got a distinct black label and a black cap and comes in 2 different sizes, the 2 liters and 500 milliliters. Allow the taste of Tropica to just give you an escape to some paradise or oasis or a Tropica island. My highlights from today is seeing the turnouts. The people at Bara are truly excited about the new Tropica Zero. You can just see the excitement on their faces and just like how they've all lined up to taste this refreshing drink. My favorite flavor of the Tropica Zero has to be the orange. I think it's absolutely refreshing when it is cold. Listen, on a hot summer's day, it will quench your thirst, but it's also perfect for winter. This one leads the way for me. We have had such an incredible day experiencing the tropical flavors of the Tropica Zero out here at Bara Square in Johannesburg. It's everything we know Tropica to be, right? Refreshing, delicious, and oh so smooth. No wonder the people of Mzansi have fallen in love with all its flavors.
I was going to say zero cheek there, but Kutle's got a lot of cheek, man. She's got the sass. She's the right person to balance out this equation. We love it, man.
Yeah.
I'm still yet to decide on my favorites. And as a result, because this journey has been so torturous, no, it hasn't. It's been great taste testing every morning, I've got to say. I have no favorite.
I know, dude. I think that's honestly
door.
everybody's answer. I mean, I know Mzansi was trying to give answers in the streets, but honestly, if they've tried every single one, you can't answer. You're going to have to take all 3 all the time and decide in the day which one's going to be for breakfast, which is for lunch, and which is for supper.
Exactly. I was going to say, there's a season for every Tropica Zero. I absolutely love it. But right now, this instant, mango and peach is my favorite because it's the one that I'm drinking.
Orange for breakfast, perfect choice. I don't know about you, Mzansi, let us know. And yeah, enjoy it.
Look out for that black cap.
Smooth.
Whenever you have something really cold, and then you get this short, sharp kind of sensation, that's sensitivity. It can get worse. The problem is not going to go away by itself. I always recommend Sensodyne. It's specially designed to care for their sensitivity. And I've had people coming back to me saying it's made a difference. It works.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, your beauties. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, I am that excited because I get the opportunity finally to connect with our amazing performers this morning. Hailing from Johannesburg is Indie Dog Band. Ow, ow, ow! I feel like you have to do that every time you say their name. A very unique sound, ranging from kind of a 70s electric classic rock vibe, 90s grunge, which for me is where music peaked, all the way to some really modern funk and a very eclectic sound like the band. Each member brought their own flavor into the mix and crafted what has become a very signature Indie Dog sound. Ow, ow, ow! We've got to say it every time. And joining us this morning, once again, to catch up on what they've been up to is the band Indie Dog. Let me quickly run through Seb, Yak, Steve, Mark, and Ilana. Welcome to the mix, guys. So good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having us back, man.
Thank you for surviving the insanity of these last few years. Yeah. Every band has gone through the hard yards. I've got to ask, first of all, in this crazy world right now, because it feels good. It feels like if you had the strength to survive, to push through, now it's a different playing space.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
We're good. We're doing better than ever. We've just brought out an album, which is fantastic, and we're riding that wave really nicely. So yeah, it's doing pretty good.
We'll get into that creative process because I think it's changed. The music seems to matter so much more.
Yeah.
A new collaboration in the mix, a beautiful energy brought into this Indie Dog space. Alana, welcome. I feel like I should say, like, welcome to South Africa. Welcome to this. How did you guys find each other, and what is this collaboration all about? Just from the 3 seconds of soundcheck, I get it. But how did this come about?
Yeah, so I play in a band called Lost Youth, and we decided to go up on tour to Johannesburg last year, I think it was. Yeah, and Indie Dog was kind enough to do some shows with us, and we had a great time. We were thinking, oh, it'd be cool if we could do like a collab on a song, you know? And they chose Wilson from their first album, and we performed it, and we loved playing it together. I love singing it with them. And Seb was like, you know what? I think we should re-record it and put it on the second album.
This again.
No, so yeah, then I came up last year in May. We did another tour of Johannesburg and got to get into studio together. And it was just magical. It was in the middle of nowhere in this beautiful studio. And we just got to make this song again.
To create. I have so many questions that I want to ask you. We're going to get into their performance in just a moment. I'd like you to think about, if you will, while we go through those news headlines, if the creative process has changed. It feels like the industry is so much more collaborative. Everyone is bringing each other up with them now. Yeah. There is something different, and we know that the music just matters so much more because all of us can feel it and identify. We've been through one common experience, and these guys get to express that through emotion and music, and they're going to do that in just a moment. But first, let's deal with the reality of life, get into those news and sports headlines, and then we dance.
Thank you so much, G. I can't wait for that performance, but it's just about to go on the hour, and of course that means official duties must commence. Now, starting on national news headlines, delivery of food to some KwaZulu-Natal schools as part of the National School Nutrition Program has commenced. Now, this after failure to deliver food to some of the schools in the program since the start of the second term, 3 weeks ago. Now, about 5,000 schools have been affected, leaving many learners starving. Now, Pachina Retail was awarded a contract to supply the entire province's schools and has been accused of non-delivery. Now, the Provincial Education Department has since arranged for suppliers at district level to provide food. While sticking to national news headlines, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has confirmed that the South Africans who were stranded in Egypt due to a lack of requirement documents have been granted permission to enter the country. Now, Egyptian authorities have issued a release order to the 22 South Africans stranded on a cargo ship in Port Safaga, Egypt. Now, this allowing them to disembark. Now, the group stranded in Egypt since Saturday after fleeing war-torn Sudan made contact with the Gift of the Givers yesterday. Now, they will now fly back to SA via Ethiopia. Now, from our national news headlines, we head over to international news. Now, Uganda's parliament has watered down on an anti-homosexuality bill that originally criminalized people for simply identifying as LGBTQ+. Now, when it was first approved in March, the proposed legislation outraged human rights defenders, and members of the public were going to have to report individuals in same-sex relationships to authorities. but the bill was returned to Parliament after President Yoweri Museveni suggested changes. Now, he said the clause penalizing people who identify as gay would have led to the prosecution of people simply for their physical appearance. Now, same-sex acts have long been illegal in Uganda. Well, next up in headlines, a man widely regarded as the godfather of artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, has quit his job, warning of the growing dangers from developments in this field. Now, Dr. Jeffrey Hinton, aged 75, announced his resignation from Google in a statement to newspapers, saying he now regretted his work. Now, he said some of the dangers of AI chatbots were quite scary, he added with a quote, and he also said, right now, they are not more intelligent than we are, as far as I can tell, but I think they soon may be, unquote. Interesting stuff indeed. Well, finally, in our headlines, something that will definitely raise the spirits. The Tygerberg Children's Choir has been named the best children's choir at the 2023 Hull International Choir Competition in Britain. Now, they also bagged second place in the category for sacred choral music, performed as a cappella. And this latest achievement of the choir means they can participate in the World Choir Games in New Zealand next year. Now, 27 choirs from 10 countries participated in the Hull Choir competition this year, having won countless international choral competitions since its inception in 1972. Now, the Tygerberg Children's Choir, one of SA's proudest musical export products, is today widely regarded as one of the best even-voiced children's choirs in the world. The choir celebrates a monumental 50 years on the 23rd of July this year in the Cape Town City Hall. Truly a remarkable milestone. Now, these highly talented children have, among many others, performed for ex-President Bill Clinton, also at the inauguration of President Nelson Mandela in 1994, and for the late Queen Elizabeth. Beautiful stuff indeed, but of course we carry on with the rest of the headlines, and here's the latest when it comes to sport with G.
Thank you so much. Well, let's start with a little footy news, and it's all heating up. Arsenal are back on top. They delivered an emphatic warning that they remain serious title contenders as they outclassed an abysmal Chelsea 3-1 to return to the top of the Premier League summit. So the Gunners had gone 4 league games without a win and were heavily beaten last time out at reigning champions Man City, who of course then replaced them at the summit with a victory at Fulham on Sunday. But Mikel Arteta's side are not rolling over. They're back at the summit, although City do still have those 2 games in hand. Now, leading from the front, as he has done, captain Martin Odegaard scoring twice, while Gabriel Jesus added a third before Nondi Madueke, he added a consolation for the visitors. Now, some footballing news, but staying on the international front, Argentina captain Lionel Messi has been suspended by his club, Paris Saint-Germain, for 2 weeks after traveling to Saudi Arabia without the club's permission this week, and will not train or play for PSG during the period of his suspension. Quite a big move. So the trip followed the French club's home defeat by Lorient on Sunday, in which Messi played the full 90 minutes. Now, it's understood the 35-year-old has a role as a tourism ambassador for Saudi Arabia, and a presumably highly paid role, and asked permission to make the journey to carry out commercial work, but was refused and went anyway. So we'll watch that space, but now we turn to cricket, where things are changing again at the top of the table. So India overtook Australia to go #1 in the new test rankings issued by the ICC, while also retaining the top position in T20s. So India last topped the test rankings for a month in December of 2021, while Australia has been #1 since January of 2022. That was after hammering England 4-0 in that Ashes series. England are third, with the rest of the table remaining unchanged. South Africa fourth, New Zealand fifth, ahead of Pakistan, and then Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh, and our continental neighbours, Zimbabwe, making up the rest of the table. Now we turn to tennis, and some great news for the fans and for the world #1 ranked Novak Djokovic. He will be able to play at this year's US Open. That was after the United States confirmed international travellers will no longer need to be vaccinated against COVID-19 to enter the country. So US policy will change on the 12th of May following Serb Djokovic, or allowing him to return to Flushing Meadows in August. Just in time, the 22-year-old Grand Slam winner, or 22-time Grand Slam winner, needs to extend that record, and he was of course forced to miss last year's tournament because of his vaccination stance and status. He also missed the past 2 Masters events in Indian Wells and Miami. Great to have him back on the circuit, and that's where we leave our sport for this morning. Of course, the road's properly woken up by now. Let's get you to work safely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, G. Yes, for many of you heading out on the roads and heading to work this morning, we have something for you. Now, if you're in the Eastern Cape, the roads are closed on the N6 Komani. Now, this is towards Jamestown, and it's due to community protest action. So please be careful when approaching this area as it is affected. If you are in the Cape Town area, there is congestion on the N2 inbound. Now, this at Jake's Cavill. Again, you can expect delays and allow for more travel time. Moving to Joburg, there's a stationary vehicle on the N1 southbound, and this after the ramp from Old Johannesburg Road. Now, the center lane is closed, so again, please do drive carefully. And for anybody heading out on the roads, plan your route accordingly. Buckle up and stay safe. It's time to head from the road to the sky and see what's happening the latest when it comes to weather. Reporting on weather news first up, a recent rapid heating of the world's oceans has alarmed scientists who are concerned it will add to global warming. Now, last month, the global sea surface hit a new record high temperature. Now, it has never warmed this much this quickly, and scientists don't fully understand why this has happened. But they worry that combined with other weather events, the world's temperature could reach a concerning new level by the end of next year. Now, experts believe that a strong El Nino weather event, a weather system that heats the ocean, will also set in over the next months. Now, warmer oceans can kill off marine life, lead to more extreme weather, and raise sea levels. Now, they're also less efficient at absorbing planet-warming greenhouse gases. And we have previously reported that should El Nino return, it could mean that this winter in SA may be unseasonably dry in the southwest and unseasonably wet in the northeast. Interesting news indeed. Well, from our weather news, we head over to Sunrise Views in our last edition for this morning. And starting off with Nina from Gordons Bay. And look at this, a magnificent view of the sun breaking through the pillowy sky, like a painting, majestic indeed, and we absolutely love it. Thank you for this one, Nina. Denver Giraja comes through next from Durban, and his image of the clear skies and some beautiful greenery are adding to his view and our morning, and it's absolutely beautiful indeed. Next up, we got Natasha Koch from Vanderbiltpark and her blinding view of the sun from her stoep. Oh, what a beautiful one indeed. Powerful morning to start the day. But lastly, Sandy comes through with this one from Hillcrest. And it's in a beautiful, well, I think this is a beautiful view from her local golf range. I mean, look at that amazing image. The hues, the warmth, the tones, the stillness of the water. You win. Fine, you win. Well done. Zanzi, these pictures are absolutely incredible. Keep bringing them through. We love seeing how you start your day, and these are just giving us the inspiration that we need. So use the number 063-408-8863. And for the temperatures, one last time, let's take a look at it right now. Starting off in Polokwane, your day starts at a low of 12 up to a high of 28 with thunder and rain expected. Much the same from Mbombela, 16 up to 28 degrees. Pretoria sees the day starting at, a low of 13 up to 28. The rainfall continues, and Johannesburg, 11 is your low, up to a high of 25 with wet conditions expected. Over to Mahikeng now, where your day starts at a low of 13 up to a high of 30 degrees. You can expect rainfall in your side of town. Klerksdorp, a little bit drier, maybe some drizzle, 13 up to a high of 29. Kimberley sees the day starting at 7 up to 27 degrees, no rain expected, and much the same for Bloemfontein. 3 is your low, up to a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Moving around the coast now and over to Richards Bay, you can expect some thunder and rain coming through from 19 up to 24 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, much the same with those conditions, 14 up to 21. Durban, the rain continues, 62% predicted, 18 up to 24. And Mthatha, the rainy conditions are very similar, 10 up to a high of 23 degrees Celsius. Over and carrying on around the coast now, over to East London, where the day starts at a low of 14 up to 23. Cradock sees the day starting at 16 up to 24. GQ Berga sees the day starting at 13 up to 22. And George, 12 is your low, up to a high of 20 degrees Celsius. Carrying on now and moving over to the mother city. Sorry, I just forgot George there. Let us not forget they start their day on 12 up to a high of 20 degrees Celsius. Cape Town now, the mother city starts at a low of 12 up to 20 degrees. Worcester, 8 is your low, up to a high of 27. Sutherland, chilly conditions from 6 up to 22. And Uppington, bringing it from a cold 7 degrees up to a nice warm 30 degrees Celsius. Again, Mzansi, thank you for the incredible pictures, and we're going to keep the incredible going right now. Enjoy.
Oh, yes, we are. Sometimes the chemistry, the power of collaboration is so strong that a band like Indie Dog will go and re-record a song because that magic is just undeniable. And when they connected with Alana Joy, they knew they had found something magical. It's time now to get a reworked, souped-up performance of one of their original hits. We love this one. Wilson, take it away.
Look into the sun, burn my eyes, feed the only one on my mind. Kill the need for space, I'll be right here, right where we left off, your one and only fear. I don't see what you see in me, honestly, but I've been waiting so patiently for you and me, so darling, please come back to me before you're gone, gone away, gone away. You're
the stuffed crust?
No, this is the normal crust.
Normal
stuffed
crust, normal crust. G and Raul are busy doing squats in the background, getting ready for the pizza. Okay, come inside the kitchen, come inside the kitchen.
Yeah!
Hi, guys.
Okay.
Time is a time for fun.
Let me tell you.
Time for fun.
Okay.
Pizza time.
Enrico, Raul,
Enrico,
Graham,
I've been salivating over you the entire day because you're making such
Please
good
stop
stuff.
flirting with the guest.
I can't help
Okay, we're going to eat the pizza either way, buddy. We're going to get the pizza either way.
Ready? Okay, so you're going to go through the burrata. Get a nice slice. Look at that.
Burrata is a direct connection to heaven, yes?
Yes.
One of those things that
very,
links
very
us?
close. Very, very close.
Hey, it's pretty much
especially when you put it on top of those kind of dough.
Where it's still warm.
I'm pretty sure people that have near-death experiences have mentioned that being on the gates as their approach. I know a couple other people that might have opinions on this. We've got, thank you very much.
We got some messages.
We've got some messengers. We've got some guys in the crew as well. I know Peter is like my favorite cameraman. I want to know from you, brother, how do you like your pizza? What do you think of this one right now, and what's your favorite?
We're going to tell you what Peter says. He's got?
Well, generally, when I eat a pizza, I take a slice and I fold it in my hands so that like the bits don't fall off the slice. And
Clever.
Basically get a good bite that way.
Okay.
Employing...
You got it. No, basically, he's saying
so
put the whole thing in your mouth in one
fold like
go.
that, right? Then you kind of like create a little scoop. Pete.
Perfect.
Good hack. Now we just enjoy, right? Can I dig in?
Go for it, go for it. Get that cream.
Smash it.
The pistachio cream that's on there as well. Oh, G.
Thank you.
Enrico, please grab a slice. I gave you the biggest slice.
Ooh.
I know we've just met.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Enrico, but I love you, man. I love you, man. I really do. No, I mean,
absolutely incredible. It feels like a halo's coming over my head and I've just died, but I've got to ask because there's so many varieties when it comes to pizza. This one is now officially on the top of my list.
Yep.
I've got someone that I know is a vegan in the studio right now. I want to find out from them. Chad, one of our mates. Chaddy boy, what do you think when it comes to pizzas? What is your favorite considering the fact that you can't have meat on yours?
Well, like a veggie option, man. If the pizza place caters for vegans, then I'm a happy man. You know what I mean?
Nice, okay, I like that. Representing.
And we've got to say, Chad, well done on the gains, bro. Chad has been working so hard.
Oh, yeah, man's looking
on developing this physique, bro. We love you, guy. Well done, buddy. So it begs the question, how do you guys at home eat your pizza? And have you got a direct divine connection through your pizza like we have this morning?
This is magical.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Enrico, this is absolutely phenomenal. It's such a treat having you. I'm glad that the two of you got to try this as well. This is my favorite pizza in Cape Town, hands down.
Yes, I've never had this in my life. My world has changed. Thank you, man.
I've actually been charged with tasting pizzas all over Cape Town to find the best pizza in Cape Town.
Oh,
hey,
all right.
I've been everywhere, man.
Guys, I know we're on this pizza like crazy at the moment, so I want to dive more into this and speak to one of the men at the helm of this place right now, Lucian Albertine. I know that he loves all kinds of pizzas, but I want to find out from him. What's your favorite, brother?
If there's pizza, my eyes see it, my stomach will get it. So I eat it.
I'm beginning to understand why this whole show is happening today. I get it now. I absolutely understand.
Oh, man.
It's impressive, right?
It is.
That's a pizza like I've never had before. The pistachio cream is magical. In South Africa, Cape Town especially, it's on your doorstep. If you haven't tried this pizza at a Pizza Connection, it's life-changing. Oh, G, are you okay? Are you with me? How many Engels?
10 Engels. Het op mijn tong. Op pipi.
10 Engels. Yeah.
Yo, that's not good. I just gonna dance. I don't even know what to do. I'm just gonna break out in dance. I don't even know what to say. This is just, it's making me feel good. Thank you.
It is magic. Enrico, thank you so much. Again, South Africa, go and check out Pizza Connection. The pizzas are out of this world. To the team behind the camera, yes, we will be paying you in pizza today. We will be paying
So
you
you're getting a raise, is what we're saying. You're getting a raise. We love you guys. Enrico, you're an absolute legend. This has been one of the best culinary hotline. Bling! Ching, ching, ching!
Whenever you have something really cold, and then you get this short, sharp kind of sensation, that's sensitivity. It can get worse. The problem is not going to go away by itself. I always recommend Sensodyne. It's specially designed to care for their sensitivity. And I've had people coming back to me saying it's made a difference. It works.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your feel-good breakfast show, and what an incredible moment we are having all throughout this morning, and it's just going to get better. Why? Because the Indie Dog Band is live right now, and they are doing something special. We've appreciated them, their experiences and everything that's happened on the show, and their energetic stage presence draws the crowd in and honestly gets us all moving. So let's welcome them back for another performance, but I want to just chat to them a little bit more because we've had you on the show before a little while ago. You were doing something absolutely incredible. Yak, I want to ask you, you did something with Carl Wasty, right? You created this original that ended up on the album as well. Dude, that was just like crazy stuff, magic moments. Talk to me about that. Maybe Mzansi fans that didn't catch the episode, what actually happened again?
So what happened that time, we got an interview before with you guys, and we told Carl that we improvise, and he was like, we should improvise on the show. So we get on the set and we're like, okay, let's try something. And Carl starts spitting some bars. It was actually quite cool.
Yeah, it was good.
And then the song that came out was The King, which is a completely different story, but yeah.
I absolutely love it. Look, we don't have a lot of time, so I want to get straight into this performance. I'm going to hype you up because if you want to find these guys anywhere, they're performing all throughout the week. Get them online. Indie Dog are waiting, and they're doing something special. But it's time to get into this performance and send us off into another beautiful space. And this one is, of course, by Indie Dog, and it's called A Destination. Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is yours. Take it away.
I've led a good life on the road, see the land I see. The sun is just a whisper to the east, in my eyes I see. Reach my destination when I want what's the end I see. Ride the wave. Ride the wave. Watch it break. Watch it break down. Ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away now. I've been seeing people a long time in my eyes, I see. I've been sleeping rough on the ground, watch the sky, I see. I've been driving miles, leave behind memories, I see. I've been seeing smiles, leave behind memories, I see. Ride the wave. Ride the wave. Watch it break. Watch it break down. Ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away now. Watch it break. Watch it break down. Ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away, ride away now.
Another feel-good production.